Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my low by year minimalism series and doing a 6-month update. The last time I did one was in March, and I know we're into July, we're in our 7th month, but I've got all my notes for my 6 months. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, or some kind of cold beverage since it's really hot in the UK at the moment, and let's talk about it. Just a warning, this is going to be a chatty video, more of a relaxed Sunday for you folks, so you're gonna need a cup of tea. Okay, so in my last video I talked about what I had bought, how I was feeling about it, and various other blabberings on for 21 minutes. So I thought I would start with what's been working. The things that have been working are splitting my money into separate budgets. So I had all my bills, my rent, groceries, all of that stuff in, actually not groceries, all my bills, rent and everything else in this kind of area. Then I had a monthly budget that I gave myself for groceries and food and kind of whatever I wanted, but I made that budget small, so whatever I wanted had to be a certain amount, like whatever, a certain small amount. And then the other side were different savings goals that I had in a general savings account to move to the US to be with my boyfriend, or my fiance now. My LISA, which is kind of a really good way of saving for your future in terms of a pension if you are self-employed. And then also a ethical and socially responsible stocks and shares ISA. Now, those are the kind of things that I can't put money into when I am living in the US, but I do intend to move back to the UK. So I'm trying to save as much as possible into those LISA and stocks and shares ISA before I move, so that it can do its stuff while I am away and can't contribute any more money to it. So that's one of the reasons why I've been particularly strict on my budgeting. And one of the things that has really worked for me is setting up direct debits. So as soon as I get paid, I have money that goes straight into my LISA, straight into my general savings, and straight into my stocks and shares ISA. If you're not from the UK, or even if you are but you haven't heard of these things, it might just be absolute gibberish that I'm talking to you. They're just different ways of saving your money. And I knew absolutely nothing about finance before I started down this journey. So I would really highly recommend, if you just have your money sitting in a general savings account, to look into ISAs and LISAs, especially if you are self-employed. And also, finally, since my last video and this video, I finally opened a pension. If you are looking for one and you're not sure and you're in the UK, Make My Money Matter is a great website to check out, which helps you greenify your pension. So the things that have been working for me are setting up the direct debits to go straight into things, and this has allowed me to get much more organized about things like my pension and saving for our future. It's very important that we do think about our future, just delay some of that gratification. And to be honest, doing this low by year has been really fundamental and instrumental in changing my mindset towards what's really important in life. Do I really need these physical items? And is it more important to save for my future instead? Probably yes. The only thing I've really spent money on that's like a big thing over the last 3 months is because my boyfriend is here, we decided to we're going to spend a few nights in a hotel next weekend as our kind of vacation for this year. It's in London, so it's not we're not going anywhere. It's also to kind of celebrate our engagement and to have just a small celebration before he has to go back to the US next weekend, which is very sad, but visa process is underway, so hopefully this is the last time that we have to be separated. Okay, items I talked about in my last video. I want to talk for continuity about those things that I bought. Am I still using them? Were they worth buying? And really evaluate the money that I spent on that and the value that I get out of them. So the first thing is I bought dumbbells, and I am absolutely still using them. I'm loving them, and even my boyfriend is using them now that he's here. This was something that I think some people asked me about, and I did worry about now that gyms have opened, but I haven't found that that has affected my using them at all. There are some times when I'm just really busy with work and I want to be able to just do a 30-minute workout but not have to travel to the gym and then travel back. Also, at home it's just so much more accessible, and now with amazing people on YouTube like Caroline Govan, she's my favorite. If you haven't heard of her, she is like YouTube's equivalent for an excellent personal trainer who's just incredibly lovely, but also really kicks your ass and builds that muscle, gets the heart pumping. Safe to say, I'm a huge fan. To be honest, I found that I haven't gone to the gym as much as I thought I would. Even though I love being able to use heavy barbells, the dumbbells were a really great investment, and it's meant that I've actually saved money by not going to the gym as much and instead paying for the occasional class rather than a monthly membership. So those have definitely added value, and I've kept adding value, and I can see them adding value in the long term as well. So I also talked about replacing my journal with a new one so I could get all my thoughts and feelings out onto the page so I don't complain to people in my life and they don't get tired of me. And I'm still using that. I'm still loving that. That's a really great and valuable thing for me personally. I think that journaling is a really great thing to do in general. And to be honest, that's all I have to say about that. There's no point in going on about that. I'm a big fan of the old journal and I'm still using that. My water bottle, obviously I'm still obsessed, really pleased with it, really glad that I invested in it. So obviously I'm still using my water bottle, still loving it. That was a great purchase. I'm pleased with that. And also the books that I talked about. I talked about 5 books that I decided to buy, even though I said I was buying no more books this year. But I finished The Joy Luck Club. Loved it. I also finished Behind the Beautiful Forevers. I don't know how much I loved that one. I thought the story was amazing and it really was told as a story, even though it's from a journalist's perspective. So yeah, I quite like that. I'm also currently reading Home Fire, which I'm just about to finish, which is excellent. Highly, highly recommend. It's just, wonderful book. Camilla Shamsi is a fantastic writer. I put A Tale for the Time Being down to read Home Fire, but I've just picked that back up again, and so I am currently reading that book as well. But also I haven't started The Invisible Women yet, but I will be reading that one next. So I've decided to stop buying physical books, and for one, it is actually cheaper if I buy it on my e-reader. 2, I'm moving, so I don't want to be collecting lots of stuff into my life. I want to be getting rid of things. I want to be donating and selling and basically minimizing everything in my life and my space. So buying physical books just doesn't make sense, even though I love them. I love the feel of a book in my hand. I love the page turning. I love the feeling when you finish a book and there's something so satisfying. I don't know what's wrong with me. Every time I read a book, every time I finish it, tears just fall from my eyes. I don't know why. It doesn't even, sometimes they're not even sad books. Sometimes I'm crying with joy. Sometimes I'm crying with laughter. Sometimes I'm crying because I'm just proud that I finished a book. I don't know if I'm the only person who does this. I read The Flat Share, which is a very average book. I think it's Beth O'Leary. I cried. Obviously I cried. I just cry at the end of every book. Apart from non-fiction, even some non-fiction books, that's a step too far really, isn't it? So yes, I've decided to stop buying physical books. Once I've read all of these, I'm going to pass them on. I said this in my last video. I'm going to pass them on. I'm going to donate them. I think I talked about this before. I found an app where you can sell your books and they just come and collect them. So it makes your life really, really easy. But yes, that's what I was thinking about books. However, I did buy 2 more books. I'm going through a bit of a creative crisis where I think that my videos are really bad, or that they're just not interesting, or that people just don't want to watch them. And it's messing with my head just a little bit. So I did end up buying 2 books on a kind of creative process, on creative, how to have ideas. And it made me realize that books are something I'm never willing to not buy. Unless, of course, I can get them from a library, then I can just borrow them. That is great. And my local library is open again. I did go and check first before I bought these 2 books, but they didn't have them. They're the kind of books that I probably will read again, or dip back into, so I thought they're good ones to buy. Books are so enriching and inspire me so much when it comes to ideas, when it comes to having empathy for others, especially if you're reading about people's lives that you'll never experience yourself. I think reading changes you as a person and enriches your life in such a way that I just can't understand why I would ever give that up. That's something I think that this low buy year has really helped me hone in on, is what's actually important, what is worth spending our money on, and what just really isn't. And books will always be that for me. There are so many books I never buy because I share them with friends, but there are also lots of books that I just desperately want to support those authors. They've spent so much time and affection and love, and probably a lot of sweat and tears as well, going into that book, and I want them to be rewarded by being paid for their work. So there are some times when I'm just like, I want to support this author, I'm going to buy their book. So that's all to say, I will definitely be buying books going forward, but I'm going to be buying them on my e-reader after I have finished this pile, because I want to save space, and they tend to be cheaper as well because you're not paying for publishing costs. Or printing costs, sorry. I think the only other thing I've actually bought since that last video are a pair of sandals, and I've been wearing them honestly every single day because it's hot, but I've also found that they're really good for outdoor. They're from Teva or Tiva. Many of you guys have asked me where they're from before, so I just wanted to mention them. And that's one of the only things I've actually bought. I'm really, really, really happy that after the last video, I think someone left a comment questioning how I considered what I was buying in that previous video as low buy, and it made me really think that even though to me that was much less than I was buying the year before, it probably still wasn't considered that little. And I had admitted that I'd become a bit more materialistic because of lockdown and staying at home and wanting to, I don't know, because we couldn't go out, I ended up bringing more things into my home, and I'm definitely changing that mindset and thinking, stop buying things that you don't need. That's not a good way to spend your money. Me. Don't do it. You don't need it. And also just keep thinking about there's so much better things you can do with that money than spend it on something you don't need. So yeah, that comment was really actually very helpful, and it made me really reconsider what was low buying. And I'm happy to say I stick to my monthly budget every month, and I've even actually reduced it, and you realize what a privilege it is to have disposable income. Okay, so how am I feeling about this whole experience, and what have I actually learned so far in this 6 to 7 month update? Well, I've learned that I need much less to be happy, and this is why I've upped the amount of money that I donate each month, especially because I really fundamentally believe in the redistribution of wealth, especially if you've grown up as privileged as I have, going to private school, always having food on the table, going on holiday once a year. I think that the redistribution of wealth is a really fundamental part of ensuring a more fair society. I think I'm not comparing myself obviously to a billionaire, but when you think about billionaires, for example, one of the reasons why I think they're unethical, apart from, of course, the way that they actually grow their wealth in the first place, is that fact that they hoard wealth. And they hoard money that they will never be able to spend in their lifetime. And if we take those same principles to people who earn, a decent salary and have a lot of disposable income, I think that it's only fair if we redistribute that wealth so that nobody in society suffers. Obviously, this is, what I would ideally like society to be like. Obviously, everyone having free access to every human right that they need, a roof over their head, food on their table, healthcare, schooling. And I think that really genuinely starts with a redistribution of wealth. This is going off on a tangent, but the whole point is to say, I've really, really realized how much happier I am when I really based my happiness on experiences and my friends rather than what I'm wearing, what I'm buying, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to be a part of the solution rather than someone who just, I also still want less stuff in general. I mentioned this in my last video and I wanted to mention it again just for continuity to see how I was feeling in the same manner. I'm much more focused on experiences. And one thing that's been really great since my boyfriend has been here, because I think it's unsafe to go alone, but I've been swimming in the sea almost every single day, either in my lunch break or before work, and we've been going and really valuing the kind of cold water experience and sharing that experience together, and when it's a calm day, really marveling at how beautiful and clear the water is or how painful the stones are underneath our feet, and trying out different beaches along the coast in Sussex that are near us. And those experiences have been far more enriching than something I could buy that's a physical item. And wanting less makes you feel far more content and happy and grateful for what you actually do have. The more I think about a low buy year and being able to have the choice to spend less money is the biggest privilege of all. I've also really fallen in love with cycling again. My sister is very kind. Oh, okay, so that's another thing I spent money on, is fixing up my bike. Every single year I spend a small amount of money, whatever I need to make my bike in working in condition, to make it safe, to keep it in good nick, because it's over 7 years old now and I want it to keep going for as long as I possibly can. And I spend about £50 a year just on all the bits that I need for my bike, which is not bad, to be honest. And especially since my sister services my bike for free, that's a pretty good deal. So I've been cycling a lot more, and for me that's a free activity because I already have a bike. And so using the things that I already have, valuing experiences, getting outside in the sunshine and taking advantage of the nice weather and the kind of seasonal aspects of some of the experiences that we can enjoy. Although one thing I will say is the fact that my boyfriend is here has made a huge impact on experiences, because I tend to want to do things more because we can do them together. But this is why in August when he goes, there's one really big thing that I really want to do, and even if it means I'm doing it alone, that is fine. I turned 30 in just over a month, and this is one thing I want to do before I'm 30, and it really doesn't cost very much money at all. Yeah, just having him here to do stuff with, to get me to that place where I can do things alone that I am a bit fearful to do, is such a positive thing. This is another reason why I actually demonetized a lot of my videos, or removed all the ads within the middle of the videos and only had them before and after, is because I believe in experiences. I believe in the value of experiences, and I wanted you guys to have a really wonderful and positive experience when you are watching my videos. But the problem with that is, potentially, some people have said to me that it can really hurt you in the YouTube algorithm. And I have noticed my video views have really gone down. It could be this summer, it could be because I've demonetized them, it could be because people just aren't as interested in my content, which is sad. But that's why I kind of upped the monetization again. It's just something that I'm thinking about and confusing, but also it's just another revenue stream that I'm like, do I really need to be monetizing every aspect of it, you know? So that's just something I've been thinking about and comprehending. I told you this was going to be a chatty video, so if you didn't make a cup of tea, that's your own fault. Things we've learned. I was still buying too much during my low buy year, and after I made my last video, you guys made me see that, and I reflected on it, and I feel much better about it, and I have bought much less stuff. I'm still going to buy books. Books enrich my life. I think they are wonderful. I'm a better person for it. I empathize more because of it. I understand more because of it, and I have better ideas because of books. Direct debits are your best friend. If you don't have a direct debit straight into certain accounts, you won't save as much. You just won't. Direct debits are your friend. Start saving for your future. I promise you it's the most important thing you can do. Especially if you're 20 years old or even 25. The earlier you start, the less you have to save each month. Redistribution of wealth is incredibly important. So I think that's where we're at when it comes to my low buy year. I really need to funnel my energy into appreciating minimalist values and appreciating that by saving, I'm saving for a future. I'm saving for my future when I'm old. I'm saving for very, very near future of moving to the US. And I'm putting much more value on doing things and experiences and being grateful that I even have some money to save in the first place. So to end this video, because we are rambling and getting on, final thoughts. This was a really great exercise for me. This is a really great experience. It's very humbling as well. So I'm going to stop rambling there. Thank you for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. I will see you next week. If you guys are doing a low buy year, I would love to hear all about it. If you're doing a no spend year, if you're doing a no spend month, no spend week, low buy month, I want to hear about it. And I want to hear what you think about some of the things I've talked about. Please. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss another video, because it also really supports me in this YouTube algorithm. And I will see you next time.